Good afternoon, YouTube. I hope everybody is feeling well, and I hope everybody had an awesome week. Another week is in the book, and it's time for another week of No Mercy Sports. Yeah! Huh? I said it's time for another weekly episode, I should say, of No Mercy Sports. Yeah! Now, before I get into today's episode, I bring on today's guests with me. We have a Rumble this Saturday, tomorrow night, of royally epic proportions. Now, the WWE Royal Rumble will be streaming on Peacock, and I know what most of y'all are thinking. I don't have Peacock. I've been preaching this for so long now, all right? All you got to do is click the link in the description of this video and click on the link that says DSTV hosting. There are only two things that you need to get this TV service set up. Or if you have an Apple iPhone or an Android iPhone, it doesn't matter. Just look up the app called Smarter's Player Lite. It is a purple app. Ain't that hard to miss. All you got to do is just sign up with DSTV hosting. You get all the local channels in the country. You get all the sports channels in the country. And yes, I'm talking about Bally Sports as well. You even get Canadian sports channels, for crying out loud. You get all the sports packages, NFL, NHL, NBA, and baseball, for crying out loud, all for free. And on top of that, you get free pay-per-views. Now, granted, it does depend on if you have a good Wi-Fi service, obviously, or if you have good reception, depending on who your carrier is. But my God, you don't want to miss the Royal Rumble because there are going to be a lot of things going on right now in this matchup. Tomorrow night, we got the men's Royal Rumble. We got the women's Royal Rumble. We got a fatal four-way featuring my favorite modern wrestler, who was a combination of The Rock and Stone Cold, being Mr. L.A. Knight. Yeah! Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and Roman Reigns, a fatal four-way again for the WWE Undisputed Championship. But that is tomorrow night. We are talking about tonight because there are a lot of things that need to be discussed. So without further ado, enough mumbo jumbo. It's time for the most uncut, unfiltered, and unfucking sports talk show you will find on YouTube. Let's get into today's episode of No Mercy Sports. Yeah!
Nobody can stop me now.
Oh, God, that intro does a lot for me. It gets me so hyped up and makes me love doing what I do on the side, and it makes me want to make this a full-time hustle. Now, before we get into today's episode, I want to welcome the regular guest of them all. He was on the show of College Sports Villain last night. I was there with him. Man, oh man, we had a great time. He's a big man. He's got some spicy takes. Please help me welcome to the stage, Mr. Matt Campbell. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, buddy? God damn, I love that intro.
Oh,
I feel like
God,
I need my mic just so you don't hear anything on my side, because I'm just like, yeah!
Hey, that's what I do. I bring that WWE energy, and I bring that Bruce Buffer energy to this show because that's what I do. I'm bringing nothing that nobody has seen before.
Okay, so it's Friday. I have an early day tomorrow, so essentially when we wrap this show, I'm gonna eat dinner and go straight to sleep. So I'm playing a little game. I've got a secret word. Every time you say said secret word, I'm gonna take a shot. We're gonna see. We're gonna see how fucked up I can get while we do the show.
We'll see what that secret word is. But for now, let's get into the today's show. Like I mentioned on College Sports Villain last night, shout out to the big man. I hope he makes it here, Mr. Andrew Anderson. When we were going over the predictions for the NFC Championship and AFC Championship, I mentioned that the Detroit Lions are 1 win away from the Super Bowl. Now, it's been it's been a little over 30 years since the Lions have been in the conference championship. And man, I'm so glad that I listened to ESPN radio, because here's the craziest thing that was going on in 1991 since the Lions made the NFC Championship. Michael Jackson's song Black or White was #1 in the country. Silence of the Lambs was the #1 movie at the box office. Gas was $1.19, if you can believe that. Jim Harbaugh, the new head coach of the San Diego Chargers, I said San Diego, fucking fight me, was the quarterback for the Chicago Bears. And above all else, or actually, Christian's dad, Ed McCaffrey, was a rookie wide receiver for the New York Football Giants, and there was a partridge in a pear tree. Anyways, so before Dan Campbell took over as the head coach for the Lions, over the last 3 years, they won 14 games total. They won 14 games this year and are 1 win away from the Super Bowl. Now, granted, when Dan Campbell came in, it's Super Bowl, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's go. Now, when Dan Campbell came in to be the Detroit Lions head coach, aside from the fact that outside the entire state of Florida, this man looks like he's keeping Bang energy drinks in business alone, mind you, there was a certain vibe that he was bringing, like the same thing that Antonio Pierce is bringing to the Raiders right now. Granted, they started off slow. They went 1-10-1, or like they had a usual Detroit Lions losing season. The next season, they were winning critical games towards the end of the season, and it was like, there's something there for Detroit. But we got the Philadelphia Eagles, we got the Dallas Cowboys, and we got the 49ers being talked about, because that's all there is to talk about in the NFC. The Lions are in the NFC.
I will say this: we gave the Lions their due.
Mm-hmm.
Like on the D-Hop show when we were over there.
Yeah,
we gave them their due. Like a lot of us picked them to win the division. So I wouldn't like say we're surprised to see him here, because we really shouldn't be by like what we said at the beginning of the season. I'm not surprised to see him here, especially the fact like the main reason why I thought Dan Campbell was probably the greatest hire in Detroit's history is because of the simple fact, like he was on the team that went 0-16. He was there. He was on that team.
Wow.
Yes, he was a tight end on the 0-16 Detroit Lions. So when you're talking about a guy who personally has his shit invested in this team, like this is personal. This is not something that you know what I mean? He just decided he was going to be a coach one day. No, he loves football. And unfortunately, he couldn't get it done playing himself. So what has he done? He learned how to coach. He started and built himself up a repertoire, and now look at him. Look at him. He's got a chance where one more win, he makes it to the big show.
And again, like I said, there were so many teams that were getting hyped up. The San Francisco 49ers, no big surprise. The Philadelphia Eagles, big surprise that they got their asses kicked by Tampa of all teams. And the Dallas Cowboys, but they always choke when it comes to January. I I guess the real question is, did the Lions?
I was surprised by Tampa. I was surprised by Tampa. Tampa.
I was I was a little surprised
They
too.
had
I guess
some shitty games between week 10 and week 15. They had a couple shitty games in there. I wasn't sure.
Mm-hmm. But I guess the real question at hand is, did the Detroit Lions fit the role of dark horse in the NFC? Like, did they fit that role to a T?
The Lions?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, 100%, because the whole thing is, though, like, they won a couple close games, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't like they got blown out a bunch, like, every game they lost, they got blown out in. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not how it happened. They played very competitive, and the only difference is, instead of, like, you know, the years past where they've lost games, they found ways to win games.
And by like 30 points, for crying out loud.
Listen, I promise you, if San Francisco sleeps on this Detroit team and thinks it's going to be a walkthrough, I'm just telling you, I feel like that is the number one way the Detroit Lions can win, is if they come and they play up to the competition and they no holds barred. Put your foot on that gas pedal and don't take it the fuck off. You're talking about the first time in history your franchise is going to the bowl? Shit.
Facts. I mean, defensively, I have my eyes on Nick Bosa and Aiden Hutchinson, because defensively, Nick Bosa has carried that San Francisco 49ers defense, and Aiden Hutchinson has done the exact same thing. Both teams offensively are so explosive.
I do not understand how that 49ers defense isn't better. Like, just the defensive line alone, okay? You got Armstead, you got fucking you got Bosa, you got Young, like what? Just them three. Just them three. You can run a 3-4 system with those three guys. And you should be getting penetration. You should be dog walking a lot of fucking teams. And the fact that they're not is what scares me. And that's why I say.
Yeah, but I mean, don't sleep on the offensive weapons that Detroit has. They have Jahmyr Gibbs. They have David Montgomery. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is essentially like reading a list of wide receivers that got drafted before him. This man is basically Michael Jordan. He's like, y'all chose these receivers over me. I'm going to take that personally.
I will also add Williams and Reynolds. Reynolds has had a resurgence. That man has caught some clutch catches and has helped win games this year. I mean, my man might only average 2 catches a game, but guess what? Them 2 catches are always in clutch motherfucking moments.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what, though. This Sunday, it's going to be epic proportions. The Super Bowl I want to see is the Baltimore Ravens versus the Detroit Lions. Like, it's it's not even close. That is the game that we deserve to see. Absolutely. Unfortunately, for other teams, they got to watch from the couch. Man.
Look, I mean, for me, like, yes, I'm with you. I want to see Ravens Lions. I want to see Ravens Lions so bad, but it's just that inner voice is like, come on, San Francisco's going to get this one. They're going to win this game by 3 points, my boy. I'm telling you, it's going to be some wild shit. It's going to be like somehow they make a miraculous play and they kick a field goal and win the game. And I feel like that's now granted, like I said, if Detroit has many ways they can win.
Yes.
They can win an offensive fight. They could possibly win a defensive fight.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes them dangerous, because it's just like, bro, if everybody shows up and does their job, the Lions win. The Lions win. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, San Francisco's got some nice pieces on offense. They got some nice pieces on defense. But the whole thing is, I mean, let's go back and look at the last, 6 weeks of work.
Yep. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Deebo Samuel is out for this game, or is he in?
No, he's in. He's in.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, it's going to be competitive. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Like, I mean, for me, like, I went from thinking, okay, well, the as far as the Ravens game versus Kansas City, I'm like, I think the Ravens will win by a touchdown. Yep. But all this flack, all this bullshit, all this fucking energy that I've been getting, people saying, oh, it's funny, Patrick Mahomes is going to throw all over that defense, that Patrick Mahomes this, Patrick Mahomes that. And I'm like, bro, 26 touchdowns. 26 touchdowns a couple years ago, still tremendous motherfucking feat for a defense. Now you've added a game. You added a game to the season, and we still kept that shit 26 fucking touchdowns. Like, we don't give up touchdowns. Like, you look at the last
but
few
the
games.
Kansas City Chiefs led the league in drop passes. The wide receivers for the Chiefs couldn't catch COVID if it fell into their fucking laps.
And that for me is where it all comes down to. So if you can't throw the ball, and I'm sorry, like Isaiah Pacheco, yeah, he had a good season. He
runs like fucking Tom from Tom and Jerry, for crying out loud.
But again, you're talking about him going up against Patrick Queen. And fucking what's his name? Roquan Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Like, come on, these two are patrolling the middle of our motherfucking defense. Plus, you have Kyle Hamilton. They talking about, oh, well, they're vulnerable on the outside. Yeah, well, Marlon Humphrey's motherfucking healthy now. So you can count that shit. I can tell you right now. Okay, Kyle Hamilton is going to be on Kelsey all goddamn night. And guess what? He's going to get help from Williams, the other safety, because he's definitely going to be following whatever side of the field. You're going to put Marlon Humphrey,
big man.
Man to man on Rice. I'll take that all day fucking long. Because guess what? If he catches it, who's going to punch it out? Marlon fucking Humphrey's going to punch that shit out.
Oh, so he's going for the Peanut Tillman punch.
Yeah, I mean, bro, listen, since he's been in the league, he's had over 50 punch outs.
Really?
Look up the stats on Marlon Humphrey. You're talking about a guy who will literally cause forced fumbles, who will go after the ball, passes, defend it. Like, bro, he is the shit. Oh. And now you're talking about, like, yeah, he didn't play last week. He doesn't need to. He's a fucking he's an all-pro. Like, I don't care what, like, he is. He's an all-star.
Did we not see the score for the Ravens-Texans game, for crying out loud?
No, I mean, no. So I'll tell you this. No. Marlon Humphrey played against the San Francisco 49ers. Marlon Humphrey played against the Miami Dolphins. He got injured in the Miami Dolphins game. Okay? So, but again, two of the best offenses in the league, we held them to kaput. Kaput. They didn't do shit to us. Like, I'm sorry. If you don't score 20 points in the NFL, you ain't did shit. You ain't did shit. And as far as I see, for us this season, there was only one true game against the fucking Pittsburgh Steelers. They had our number. I give it to them. They had our number that game. We couldn't fucking score to save our goddamn lives.
But, I mean, granted, arguably the greatest rivalry in the NFL right now is Pittsburgh and Baltimore. But, God, I mean, when those two teams get put together, expect fireworks and expect a hockey fist fight, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I find is funny, because it's like, look at our division. Our division is the toughest division in the league. I don't care what anybody says. I don't NFC, AFC. NFL, the entire NFL, the AFC North have the top teams almost every single year. We have at least 2 or 3 of our teams.
Well, except for the Cleveland Browns.
I mean, but even still, in the past 5 years, they've made the playoffs multiple times.
Yeah.
In the past 5 years, the Steelers have made the playoffs multiple times. The past 5 years, the Ravens have made the playoffs multiple times. So it's, again, when you're talking about one division where at least 2 or 3 teams are getting to the playoffs on a regular basis, bro, the toughest division in football. And again,
couldn't agree more.
We beat our division. We won our division. Then again, beat all the big name teams, and it's just like, for some of the pundits to still not give us the respect is just like, come on, man, that's okay. Now I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, you know what? Fuck it. I want to see a blowout. I want to see Lamar Jackson run for fucking 2 touchdowns. I want to see him throw for 3 fucking touchdowns. I want to see Flowers get a touchdown. I want to see Andrews get a touchdown. I want to see Hill get a touchdown. And I mean, literally at this point, I'm hoping it's fucking 45-3.
Man, oh man.
Like, you know, at first I was giving Patrick Mahomes a touchdown, but now I'm like, no, fuck, there ain't no fucking way, because we gonna make him run for his life. He's gonna upchuck that motherfucking ball. It's gonna tip off somebody's hands, interception. We're gonna make him throw a bad throw, interception. He's gonna try to throw it low under to Kelsey. Guess what? Roquan gonna cut under, interception. And that's what I'm saying. Like, the defense, like, you're not giving credit where credit is due. And because of that, they keep making bulletin board material. The Ravens is the worst team you want to put bulletin board material up on, because every time we thrive, look at the history. Look at the history in it. We thrive. We're not.
The history speaks for itself, my man. Oh man. All right. So I know we already discussed the first topic. We already talked about the second topic, but one person who has not talked about the first 2 topics is the host of College Sports Village. He is ready to make his statement. Please help me welcome to the stage, Andrew Anderson. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
What's up? It's been a auspicious day, but I'm here now. So.
Oh God, fucking work and being an adult. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. So the first topic was, like we discussed last night, when we were going over the conference championships. I said 3 years prior to Dan Campbell being hired as the Lions head coach, Detroit over those 3 years won 14 games total. They have won 14 games this year, and it's crazy. But I mean, going into this season, like, there was the 49ers, there was the Eagles, and the Dallas Cowboys that kept getting all this fucking hype, and 2 out of the 3 teams didn't live up to that hype. So the real question is, did the role of the dark horse fit Detroit perfectly?
Well, the thing about it is it did, but we should have saw it coming. Culture is what Dan Campbell has created there, and like we were discussing with Harbaugh, and people wanted to come play for him. So free agency was really good to him, right? So people understood what he was trying to build, and really get a lot of flashy names, right? So they just talent in the places that they needed it. He built something. So for him to be a dark horse almost states it perfectly what he is. So yeah, I agree with that 100%. He put pieces in place and then just came out of nowhere. Like, and the team is amazing too.
I mean, even the win that they got over Kansas City, the first game into this season, really spoke volumes. And, like, he made Detroit sexy to watch. Like, it was just, if you turn on ESPN, it was basically Detroit. And like I told Mac earlier, Dan Campbell, outside the entire state of Florida and the entire U.S. Army, Navy, whatever, Dan Campbell looks like the sole person that is keeping Bang Energy in business right now. And
yes,
like, he's bringing a vibe to Detroit that is unmatched. The same way that Antonio Pierce is bringing that vibe to the Raiders right now. So it's, I mean, it's crazy. We're going to get to the conference predictions in a bit. But, man, like I said earlier, it is time to stop hyping up the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. Josh Allen went into this season, and at the end of the season, he led the league in fucking turnovers. But I guess he's supposed to be that guy for the Buffalo Bills. 3 out of the 4 years that the Bills have been to the playoffs, they lost to the fucking Chiefs. It didn't surprise me. Bill fans are suffering from Vietnam flashbacks when Tyler Bass missed it. Granted, weather was in effect. They went back to Sky Norwood in the fucking Super Bowl when he missed it wide right. So the real question is, there's a secret.
I'm doing a shot every time somebody says Super Bowl.
Oh, yes.
So the question is, has the window closed on Buffalo?
No. Buffalo's problem isn't so much Josh Allen, I don't think. They just continuously get out coached by Andy Reid. Mentioned this before, like Andy Reid is one of the most phenomenal coaches, and on top of that, he gets some of the best assistants in the game because he's smart enough to realize that he needs all these eyes, and he's just consistently out coaching these people. It's not that the Chiefs are a much better talented team than the Bills, because they're not. By all right, the Bills should have won this game, but Andy Reid just continues to out coach them every single time, and it's like there's not a damn thing they can do about it. So I don't think the window's closed. I think that Buffalo needs to consider some internal coaching changes, not necessarily at the top, but definitely some of their scouts, maybe even their offensive coordinator, because that shit was weird. But I think that's what it is. I think it's just coaching. Andy Reid's just one of the greatest coaches, and he knows what the Bills have, knows how to execute that game plan to embarrass them almost every time. It's off now.
Radio checker.
Yeah, definite radio check.
No. I mean, I honestly couldn't agree more. But at the same time, this was the most vulnerable that Kansas City looked, the same way that Alabama looked this season. Unfortunately for Buffalo, they couldn't fucking take advantage. Like, look. Kansas City led the league in drop passes. Like I told Mac, they couldn't fucking catch COVID if it dropped into their laps, for crying out loud.
Well, once again, it really, like, Andy Reid had no reason going to the Super Bowl with those Eagle teams and Donovan McNabb. None. But yet, still went there. And they probably should have won it, without that weird throw. But they weren't more talented than the Steelers or anybody during those years, not even close, like top to bottom. Andy Reid's just that good of a coach. And
yes.
I think that's where it's coming from, and they can't out-coach him. That's why the Chiefs continuously just win over and over and over and over and over. However, it's really, I think, what it boils down to with that. I think the Bills are going to need to make some changes if they want to go further, and I think they know that. I don't think that's a not known thing. But yeah, the Chiefs were the most vulnerable they've ever been, and yet Andy Reid still found a way.
That he did. I mean, God forbid the Chiefs pick up Bill Belichick. We'll get into that when we talk about Jim Harbaugh being the new head coach of the San Diego Chargers. I said San Diego. Fucking fight me. Anybody who is tuning into this, fight me. They are still the San Diego Chargers, and the front office blew it big time moving to fucking Tinseltown. But for right now, God, like, I really wish that this game last weekend was the NFC Championship, because Tampa Bay versus Detroit, it has all the makings to be the NFC Championship. And when you really think about it, the craziest thing is that Todd Bowles, with Tom Brady under center, went 8-9, and somehow Tampa made the playoffs. But God forbid Baker Mayfield comes into the equation. They go 9-8 and still make the playoffs. Unfortunately, they came up short to Detroit. But did Baker do enough to earn a contract with Tampa?
You watch those games, and I know there was a late interception that Baker threw, but as much as I am not Baker Mayfield is an elite quarterback kind of guy, they don't make the playoffs without him. He definitely brings the energy, and he's just good enough to get them there. He gelled well with the team and the coaching strategy, like very well. So why they wouldn't sign a young guy who really, really just understands the program very, very well would be beyond me. So yeah, I think he's earned himself a contract with the Buccaneers. I think he fits well with that system and that personnel. Now, if you take him somewhere else, maybe not, but there he can be successful.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, out of any one of these guys that have come in and started, even Flacco, you know what I mean? Like, I'm giving Baker the contract. Like he's played the most consistent. Now, again, he's had some bad games.
Absolutely.
And I say bad games on his part because he still has that gene where he feels like he has to force the ball. And he also takes a lot of sacks. And it's again
and I feel like he still thinks he's in Oklahoma where he can make those type of passes, and it's like it's gonna drop into the receiver's hands, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and again, like I said, for him to come in and do what Brady did last year with pretty much the same fucking team, I'm giving kudos to him. If they don't sign him, somebody's going to.
Oh, absolutely. No, I mean, I really couldn't agree more, and I honestly think that Baker did deserve himself a contract with Tampa. I mean, this is Florida we're talking about. Baker's personality fits fits the entirety of the state, for crying out loud. Because if you go onto the news, you're gonna see a Florida man here and there. Let's be honest. So we do have a comment. Your lovely wife, Mr. Anderson. She sends her regards, and she says that she loves watching the show. I appreciate it. That is Anyways, so we're still sticking with football. There is a new charge in Tinseltown, people. Jim Harbaugh is now the head coach of the San Diego Chargers. Going into next season, what does this mean for the AFC West, and what does it mean for Michigan football?
So, what it means for the AFC West, they're all still very young. He's not ready to beat the Chiefs and Andy Reid yet. So, no. I mean, he's got a few years and then he'll be there. I think Jim Harbaugh is that type of coach. And he does have Herbert. Like, I do think they can make the playoffs next year. I don't think they can win the West over the Chiefs. No. But we'll see. Now, what that means for Michigan football, they had Rod Marone take over today, right? So he officially signed the contract. He beat Ryan Day head-to-head while Jim Harbaugh was suspended for the second time this season. But he did take the reins and coach that win. So really what it means for Michigan football, can they hold the team together without hitting the transfer portal? Can they hold the recruiting class together? If they can, Michigan's still elite. I'm at the top there. If it's a mass exodus, we're looking at an 8-4 season for Michigan, to be honest with you. That's exactly how it's going to go, but we'll see. If they can hold the team together, they're really good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what was it, 6 games that Harbaugh was suspended?
Correct.
They still won the games, for crying out loud.
Sure did. Marone was the right hire. He auditioned during the season, and he came through.
That he did. Big Mac, what say you?
Man, like I said, I think he comes in first maybe year. Okay, it's going to be a little shaky. Year 2, oh, buckle up, Buttercup, because I promise you the Chiefs are going to have something to run for that division. Like year 2, it's going to be for the money. It's going to be for the money. And I'm sorry, like John Harbaugh, proven fucking winner, and I think he can do it in this division. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not taking anything away from Andy Reid, but I'm putting everything on Justin Herbert and John Harbaugh.
Damn.
Jim, John.
He's got his coach on the brain. I get it.
I mean, look, I'm gonna just say this. Granted, going into next season,
they're dangerous.
The AFC West is gonna be like super serious, super serially. However, Al Gore said it in the episode of South Park for crying
super
out
serial.
loud. Yes,
super serial.
The AFC West is going to be stacked. The Raiders hiring Antonio Pierce, who won with Aiden freaking O'Connell under center for crying out loud. I mean, like, he fits the vibe of the Raiders. Now, Jim Harbaugh being the coach of the Chargers, that's going to be one thing. But it's going to be so stacked. It just, you're going to have your eyes on that division. But then again, we also thought that the hiring or bringing in Russell Wilson and the hiring of Sean Payton was going to make the Broncos a competitor for the freaking Kansas City Chiefs. And that turned out to be hot fucking garbage for crying out loud.
Well, we didn't know Russell Wilson was going to do a bunch of cocaine and not give a shit anymore. I think that's pretty much how that went down. Sean Payton will find the right quarterback to fit his system. And there's so many good ones in the draft, so many people you could trade for.
Is there, though?
I don't know what the Broncos get, what their pick is in the draft. So it's but there's tons of good quarterbacks out there right now. Russell Wilson's washed. He's gone.
No, that he is. I
mean, he'll be better than I ever will be. Better talent than him now.
No, for sure. And I completely agree. Now, normally I don't talk about NBA mostly because ever since Colin Kaepernick did his fucking, I'm going to kneel during the national anthem because something's been going on since the civil rights fucking movement. And ever since the 2020 bubble tournament or the summer camp championship, that's how I see it. And players were like, oh, we're going to kneel during the champion. Anyways, the point is, I don't talk about NBA enough. However, Monday, Sixers star Joel Embiid embraced the name of the 76ers. This dude had himself a night and set the single season points record. He dropped not 30, not 40, not 50, not even 60. Again, this was against the Spurs. But the dude dropped 70 points for crying out loud. What message did Joel Embiid send to the NBA?
So the message he sent, so a little before y'all's time again, I'm a little older. So the Admiral, David Robinson, dropped 70 in the early 90s, and he put the league on notice that he was here and he was the man. And Embiid did the same thing. He's because the 70s giving him some real trash talent to try to win with. They really have just ridiculous bullshit that they've had over there. He's saying that he's the man and he's this generation's David Robinson and he needs his fucking Tim Duncan. That's what he's saying. And that's where I'm going with this. He needs Ben Simmons and James Harden. Like, who thought that was a good idea? But he put the league on notice is what he's done. He's still young. Embiid is one of the best superstars in the NBA right now. His name kind of fell off the last couple of years because of James Harden and Ben Simmons. But you get him somebody
more.
They're dangerous. Could you imagine Embiid going to Milwaukee to play with Giannis?
Forget about 2021. Milwaukee would have a Chicago Bulls run. They would have a three-peat if Joel Embiid was in Milwaukee, for crying out loud.
100% agree. They couldn't be beat.
I'll say this. No. Them two with a good point guard, like if Damian Lillard stayed there, absolutely.
Right.
They have to have a small guy, though. They have to have a small guy.
And they will.
But yeah, no, that would absolutely be fucking dangerous.
I would love to. I would watch the Bucs every time they were on TV if Embiid and Giannis played together. Every time.
Oh my God!
What would you do?
It would be a big man version of Kobe and Shaq.
I mean, even when you played the Nuggets, who are one of the best teams, Joker can't guard them both.
Nope, absolutely. And this is a dude who literally doesn't care about. The Nuggets won the NBA championship, and Jokic didn't care. He was more focused on going back to his home fucking country, for crying out loud.
Well, I mean, you know, we all get homesick, right? So,
no, I'll agree to that.
But he's about business, and I think that's a lot why the Nuggets won, because you got a lot of passion outside of Joker, and Joker is the business guy. Hey, look, this is, you know, I know my craft is what I'm going to do. I ain't gonna go out there and celebrate. He reminds me of Peyton Manning. You know, Peyton Manning was all business. You know, you may get a fist pump, but that was it. He was all about business. And Joker is the Peyton Manning of the NBA.
Yeah, I could honestly see that. Wow. The more I think about it, the more it makes fucking sense.
See, I'll say the difference here is when Peyton Manning won the championship and won the Super Bowl.
He just
That's
he
the
said,
secret word.
Give me a beer. Let's go get drunk. You know what I'm saying? Jokic at first was like, yeah, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. But then he went on. He did the parade. He was like, oh, I fucking love parade. Everybody was drinking. They were getting drunk as a motherfucker. Everybody was partying. So, yes and no, but as far as Embiid goes, it's again, yes. His surroundings have everything to do with his success, and until until he's surrounded by at least a level playing field with talent, throughout the team, it's going to be it's not much of a process.
Yeah,
right.
No, for sure. I mean, until real talent is getting put around Embiid, he's not seeing the conference finals anytime soon.
Well, he's not going to score 70 every night. And that's what they...
Absolutely. I mean, the dude went to a Phillies game to be like, oh, is this what I got to do to move on to the next round during the playoffs?
I mean, James Harden's a joker. He's a great talent, but every team he goes to, he's just toxic. Nobody likes him. Nobody wants to play with him. Like, even KD was like, nah.
I mean, well, look, I see it like this. James Harden went to Brooklyn. He saw what a fucking circus show it was in Brooklyn. And I'm not trying to defend him, but at the same time, look, I would want out of Brooklyn, for crying out loud. Like, the Nets barely got into the playoffs only to get swept by the Boston Celtics, for crying out loud.
Well, you know, you have all right. So talent. I mean, talent matters, right? But what matters more is culture. So you have KD and James Harden, and you know they wanted to go out there to play for Jay-Z and all that. But at the end of the day, they don't complement each other well. That's the problem. You know, they just don't do well together. And it was a bad decision. And Ben Simmons, they were reaching at that point, right?
And that flat fucking earther, Kyrie Irving.
Somebody was watching too many highlight reels.
So, I mean, Kyrie, if his head's straight, can be great. However, he's toxic.
Yes.
James Harden is toxic. Ben Simmons is toxic. They're all toxic. And they tried to put them all together, and KD's like, y'all, man, fuck y'all. I want to is this?
I'm going to fucking Phoenix, where there's a team already built to win another championship, for crying out loud.
Right. KD is not toxic. Now, he does try to get on teams, but so does all of them. He just gets the shit for it because he joined Golden State. But LeBron, same thing. You know, like they all do the same thing. The only one that really has it is Giannis. You know what I mean? Like he stayed. You know, like, this is my team. But KD is one of my favorite players in the league. I love to watch him play. You call him Snake if you want to, but the end of the day, you know, the man, you know, it's his money, his decision. He won a ring. Got to respect the guy for it.
I mean, if you're gonna start calling players snake, then what do you call Robert Horry?
You know what? I
The
mean,
luckiest motherfucker in the world.
Absolutely.
mercenary.
Absolutely. Look, he was the literal definition of right place, right time.
Just like Steve Kerr with the Bulls, then the Spurs. He got what? He got himself 6 or 7. I mean, 7, right? He got 7. 4 with the Bulls.
He's definitely up there in rings. I'll tell you that.
And Steve Kerr is not one of the greatest players of all time. He's like Ori. He was in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely.
But Kate is better than both of them jokers, though. I'm just gonna say.
Oh,
Okay.
for sure. But for me, it's just like, dude, if you're gonna clout somebody for ring chasing, then clout everybody. Clout everybody. Everybody who did it.
I agree.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, even Scottie Pippen himself fucking did it. This dude had, I believe, Hakeem Olajuwon and fucking Charles Barkley on the Houston Rockets and still couldn't get the job done without MJ.
Also, they were like 100 at that point. So I think it was just to sell tickets at that point. Like, I know it sounded good, Barkley, Hakeem, and Scottie Pippen, but they were too old. It was just the Rockets were like, okay, we won back-to-back while Jordan was gone, right? So we got our 2 rings, we got our clout. So now we just want to sell some tickets, right? So we bring in Scottie, we bring in Charles Barkley, we sell them tickets. I think that's what it's all about. I don't think they really thought with these 3 old dudes they were gonna go out and beat all these young teams. Maybe they did, who knows? But I think it was all about the money at that point. Tickets.
Yeah, no, that honestly wouldn't surprise me either. But we're gonna still stick with the NBA. Why? Because Miami got scary, figuratively speaking. The Miami Heat traded Kyle Lowry and a 2027. Yeah, because who's gonna be alive to see that? A 2027 first-round pick to the Charlotte Hornets. In exchange for Terry Rozier. Where does this put Miami in the Eastern Conference?
Well, it does multiple things. It opens up money for later in the year if they need it. Then it gives them a proven guy that can start and come off the bench. So Rozier, he's a phenomenal 3-point shooter. He plays defense. He's not a slouch. Now, is he going to be an all-star? No, but can he put up all-star numbers occasionally? Yes.
Yeah.
Is he more consistent than you know what I mean, disappearing? Yeah, he's very consistent. So
Miami won this trade. As much as Kyle Lowry, he did not fit well. It just seemed everything seemed wrong when he was there.
Jelly bean.
I would rather have Terry Rozier than Kyle Lowry on that team right now. Miami got better. Miami freed some money up, like he said. This was just win for Miami. Rozier wanted out of Charlotte, and Charlotte had to get something in return. I think is how that went down.
I mean, the only good thing that Charlotte has going for them is their fucking commentary, for crying out loud.
I mean, LaMelo Ball's always hurt, and it's a bad situation. Rozier wanted out. The Heat do get scary. Miami got better.
Scary Terry.
No doubt about that. But with that being said, Charlotte, I think they just wanted maybe some trade Kyle Lowry at the end of the year, get some draft picks or something. Terry Rozier was going to bounce anyway, so now they're going to get something for him. That's all I could think, because I sure as hell wouldn't trade Terry Rozier for Kyle Lowry at this point.
No, and I completely agree. Miami won this trade. Pat Riley, the Godfather, doing what he does best. I really think that it puts Miami in the top 5 of the Eastern Conference, and the mix of Terry Rozier and Jimmy Butler, it's gonna be so fucking scary to see.
Yeah, they definitely popped into the top 5 with this acquisition. I'm a big Rozier fan, so I think I would love him to come to the Hawks, but it just didn't work.
Unfortunately, it did not. So we're gonna go in a different direction. We're gonna go from basketball to baseball because it's time to take a trip to Cooperstown. Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, and Todd Helton have all been elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, there are a lot of things going out there that other people should have been added. I think, oh, God, what was his name?
Andrew Jones?
Yeah, I think Andrew Jones was on that list.
From the Braves in the 90s?
Yeah. He had, oh my God, he had like 10 gold gloves. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
There was like another name on that list that people were saying should have been added.
They put him in with the steroid era, right? He's been accused of using steroids like Roger Clemens and all of them. And that's why the voters haven't put him in. His career is enough, but even going further back than that, like I love the three that made it. Todd Helton definitely. Like what a fucking.
He was a quarterback on Tennessee when Peyton Manning was there, for crying out loud. That is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Let's throw it back even further before. So there is a guy who won back-to-back MVP in the 80s, 83, 84 MVP. Hit for over 300 home runs, played for the worst fucking team ever assembled in baseball. He had nobody to protect him while he won these MVPs. And just the only person ever to win back-to-back MVPs not in the Hall of Fame. His name is Dale Murphy. So he played for teams that only won 30 games during the season. Like, that's how bad they were. And he still was popping up 40 home runs. And they gave him a lot of shit about striking out a lot. But Jesus Christ, Bob Horner was his best person to cover him. Do y'all even know who he is?
No.
Right. Clearly not.
Right. So Dale Murphy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Who wins back-to-back MVPs and is not in the Hall of Fame? That is crazy to me. But the three that made it this year, yeah, I sign on for it. Yeah, definitely. I love all three of them. Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, and especially Todd Helton. Fuck yeah, man. I love it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the craziest thing is the fact that Roger Clemens, Alex Rodriguez, and dare I say, Barry Bonds don't make the Hall of Fame because they did steroids and they got exposed. Pete Rose gambled on baseball games, God forbid, and the Reds win, and he's banned from the Hall of Fame for life. But, like, look, these players did what they needed to do to, like, they put up the numbers, they put up the stats, put him in the Hall of Fame already, for crying out loud.
Yeah, Pete Rose should definitely be in the Hall of Fame. As soon as he dies, they'll put him in because they gave him a lifetime ban. So it's going to happen. They're just not going to let him enjoy it. But with Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens and them, you know what? And Mark McGwire, fuck you, man. That was fun baseball. So you still have to hit the ball. Like, you still have to make contact. You still have to strike these motherfuckers out. Barry Bonds was fun to watch, right? Mm-hmm. But McGwire, Sammy Sosa, man, that year, man, like, put them in. I mean, put them in the Hall.
What was that, 99 or 98?
I believe it was 98, 99. There was a ESPN 30 for 30 about it between Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire.
Put them in. Put them in, man. That was.
I remember being able to stay up late at night as a kid because, mind you, I was born in 91. So that happened right when I started, remembering sports. Right. Like around 8 years old, you start really remembering shit. And it's like I can remember multiple times over that summer where my dad's like, "Oh man, look, we're gonna watch this game. We're gonna watch it. It's gonna be late. It's gonna be late, but we're gonna watch this game." And it was watching Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. I mean, it didn't matter who they were playing. Right. You just wanted to see him hit a fucking home run.
Absolutely. I mean,
they would cut in and show them at bat no matter which game you were watching. So if you were watching Mark McGwire played, they would cut in at Sammy Sosa's at bat so you could see when. Man, that was fun. That's when baseball was really fun. Put them in. I'm with you.
I mean, it goes back to when Aaron Judge set the single season AL record of home runs when I believe he hit 62 or 63, if I'm not mistaken.
64.
Oh, 64. Okay. But yeah, I mean, it's like, look, Stephen A., as much as I don't agree with him, Stephen A. Smith said it better himself. The steroid era of baseball saved baseball. You go to the home run derby when Sammy Sosa was launching nukes at the Milwaukee Brewers Stadium. There was not a single seat that had a butt in it because the balls were getting launched, for crying out loud. As much as I don't want to agree with it, steroid era saved baseball, and the fucking commissioner cashed in on it like the WWE wrestlers who win Money in the Bank cash in on a championship belt, for crying out loud. And I dare you to tell me I'm wrong.
Well, there was a law. You're right. The Nolan Ryan era had come to an end. Was the golden era?
Thank God for Greg Maddux.
Right. But they had your heroes of the 70s and the 80s were coming to an end. They were getting older, and baseball needed new superstars. Just like with Michael Jordan in the NBA, saved. Right? They needed that. So they used them. Like, you can't tell me for 1 minute baseball didn't know they were juicing, because Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, and Sammy Sosa were like skinny little dudes, and all of a sudden they were the size of fucking Brock Lesnar. So you knew what was up. So don't pretend like you didn't and then cut them out when their time to come is there. But yeah, they definitely.
I mean, it's like going to Vince McMahon and telling him, like, look, your wrestlers are doing drugs behind the scene. Oh, well, no, they're not.
Right, exactly.
That's their business. That's their business.
That is the business, unfortunately.
It is.
But look, man, what you do on your time is that's your business.
Correct.
Exactly.
100% correct. Like, if you look at wrestling in the 80s, Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior, those boys were geeked the fuck up, man. Like, they were geeked.
I mean, look. It's like a job in the military.
Take your vitamins and drink your milk, and you'll be big like me.
Look, it's like a job in the military. We don't give a fuck what you do behind the scenes, but as long as you show up on time, that's all that we care about. And as long as you are delivering the product, again, that's all that we care about. And that's exactly what the steroid era of baseball was doing. They were delivering the product, and money was getting put in the pockets.
Can we just, you know what? Look, I got $1 billion idea. Let's make a steroid positive sport. Like, you know what? Juice as many steroids as you fucking want. I want every player in the league to crank out 40 home runs. Like, just a steroid filled fucking league. Fuck it, man. I just go. That's every pitcher juicing, just throwing 104, 105 mile an hour fucking fastball.
I mean, look, I'm gonna do you one better. Let's have a home run derby where the batters have like a college baseball bat, like aluminum bat. Oh my God. Giancarlo Stanton would be the goat of the home run derby. You put in an aluminum bat and Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, whatever power hitters are out there. Adley Rutschman, for crying out loud.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be a power hitter. If you've got a clean swing, you can be an everyday Joe. With one of them and you make good contact, bro, that ball's going to fucking fly.
Fucking Corey Seager.
I mean, if somebody's throwing a fastball 100 miles an hour and you hit it clean, it's gone. Like, definitely with them. But, you know, Vince McMahon tried that shit in the 90s with the XFL. Like, we just going to go out there, we're going to be crazy, and then people didn't buy in. I think that's the problem. However, I think, if Major League Baseball would get off, they're trying to do it a different way now, right? Pitch clock, and you can only throw to the bag once, and that that ups the hitter's chances and all that. I get it, but I'm with you. Just let them stick the needle in the arm and go with it. Like, if they're good with it and nobody's forcing them to do it, what do you care? Like, people love the McGuire and Sosa and Barry Bonds there. As much as people talk shit about Barry Bonds, I love watching him hit that ball in McCovey Cup. Knock the shit out of that. But it was fun. It was fun.
I mean, even going to Sammy Sosa during the home run derby in Milwaukee, like, I told my wife straight up, I'm like, look, if I'm 10 beers, or I should say 10 White Claws, if I'm that deep and kids are like, hey, let's go, let's play some baseball. No, I'm turning into Sammy Sosa. I'm launching them.
If you don't fall, I mean, that's a lot of alcohol.
Well, yeah, no, that's true. But, I mean, come on. Sammy Sosa had arguably one of the most iconic stances in MLB history.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the only swing that I like better than Sammy Sosa's was Ken Griffey Jr.'s. That's my opinion.
See, I guess because I'm a bigger guy. Like, I love Babe Ruth's swing. I've used it many times in my life where you just keep it nice and tight and then take that step into that man. And I mean, I get a hold of a ball, that thing's flying.
So something similar to Cody Bellinger.
But
he has that like tight stance, but he takes that.
As far as just, I mean, a clean swing through. Yeah, Ken Griffey, beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. And another person that I don't think gets enough respect for his swing is Ichiro.
Oh,
Ichiro should have way more respect on his swing, bro. I sat there and I watched some highlights the other day, and I was just in awe. Like, this little Japanese dude is, I mean, just thwack, thwack, thwack.
Well, I mean, he was built. See, Ichiro was built for average. Like, he can move his body into wherever the ball went, he could put it in play, right? So that his swing
was also built for speed too.
Batting average speed stances ever. And I agree with that, because he was one of the greatest hitters of all time. And if anybody argues with that, they're lying to themselves.
They're stupid.
That's the prettiest swings. And the prettiest swing I ever saw was Ken Griffey Jr. I'm just saying. Like that, like, I love watching. So he came out when I was a kid. Y'all weren't born yet. But he was like when Ken Griffey Jr. came out, it was like Michael Jordan coming out. Like, it was that big of a deal.
Oh, yeah, bro. Really, listen, I because I grew up through the 90s, I got to see a lot. Okay. And
I mean, look, for crying out loud, Ken Griffey Jr., like I'm wearing my hat, made wearing your hat backwards fucking cool.
Yes. Agreed. The kid.
Oh, it was so smooth. It was so pretty, but oh God, we don't see a lot of things nowadays that are just so pretty. I mean, the only thing I can really think of that
how many baseball players have their own sneakers? Think about that. When other than Ken Griffey Jr.'s sneakers. Who else? Who else? What other?
You're absolutely right.
Well, there's no market for it because they wear cleats unless you're just that big of a superstar, like you said.
That's what I'm saying. You got Bo Jackson, Jackson, and he played both sports. All right? You had Deion Sanders, and he also played both sports. And then you had Ken Griffey Jr.
Mm-hmm. No, I could not agree more.
So when it comes to his status, his swing, his play, Ken Griffey Jr., like, to me,
he had the sweetest stance too, for crying out loud.
So mind you, I'm an Orioles fan, okay, and I did have the grace of growing up with Cal Ripken through his twilight of his career, and literally, Ken Griffey Jr., Cal Ripken, like they're on the same level playing, and it's just like, Cal Ripken is my Iron Man. Like, that is the Iron Man. You're talking about hits. You're talking about home runs. You're talking about runs. You're talking about shortstop who was a defensive Golden Glove. Like, bro, Cal Ripken was everything, and Ken Griffey was just like it. And that's what sucked for me growing up because I didn't want to cheer against the Orioles, but I unfortunately had to a few times.
Oh,
So,
man.
yeah, he's a
I
better
just... I mean, the crazy thing about Ken Griffey Jr. was, like, he literally told Yankee fans, look, if the Yankees were the last team on the planet, and I'm going to that documentary, me being a Yankees fan, oh my God, if they had Ken Griffey Jr., oh my, they would be on.
That kid was not ready for that response whatsoever. She's like, yeah, you're going to go play for the Yankees? He's like, no, I'd retire first.
Yeah.
And the kid's like, so you're telling me? Like, he was like, listen, if the Yankees were the last team in the league willing to sign me, I'd retire.
Unfortunately, I grew up at a bad time to be a Yankees fan because it was like, oh, you're buying your players, you're buying your championships, you're doing this, you're doing that. Nowadays, do the fucking thing! Buy your players and get the fucking championships, for crying out loud.
You know what? But they never did it outside the rules anyway. So, look, man, I've got to roll. I've got to get back to work here. I just want to thank you for letting me come on. I appreciate it. Cal Ripken Jr. is better than Derek Jeter. I said what I said. And the Ravens are going to win it all. And we'll be here next week to discuss how they beat the Chiefs, and we will be making fun of Kenny.
So
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I really hate to do this, but I just want 5 minutes of your time. I know we talked about it on your show last night.
Yeah.
So the Lions are in the NFC Championship for the first time since 1991.
Right.
This is what was going on in 1991. Michael Jackson's song "Black or White" was the #1 song in the world. Silence of the Lambs was the #1 movie in the #1 movie at the box office.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Harbaugh was a quarterback for the Chicago Bears. Christian's dad, Ed McCaffrey, was a rookie wide receiver for the New York fucking Giants. And gas was $1.19 at the time.
And I was 10.
And I was just a twinkle in my daddy's eye.
Oh, my God. I was a 1-year-old, 10-pound baby, still sucking my thumb, shitting my diapers.
Nope, 91. My mom was pregnant with me, so not a twinkle in my daddy's eye. It was a little step further.
91 was also the year the Braves went from the worst fucking team in baseball to winning the National League too. So 91 was a good year.
All right, but since we're talking about the Lions, San Francisco, who you got? I know we talked about it last night, but still.
So it's going to be close. And I love the Lions story. I do. I love Campbell and Goff and all the fun shit that comes out of Detroit and Eminem and his weird brown hair and all that good stuff. But the 49ers are at home. Deebo Samuel is back. McCaffrey is just unstoppable. The 49ers win this game. I say they win by 4, and I say the Ravens beat the Chiefs 31-20. I just want to get that in real quick. But yes, I do think San Francisco wins barely, but just so many damn weapons out in San Francisco, man. To be honest with you, just everywhere. Kittle, I forgot Kittle too. Jesus, man, they just got him.
Absolutely. Again, thank you for your time, man. As always, so grateful to have you on the show. And until next time, my man.
Hey, look, I think I get off at 5 next Friday, so no worries. I can get on as long as we need.
All right, bet. Fucking bet. Go ahead, do your thing. Again, always grateful. Until next time, big man.
Hopefully see y'all Thursday on Villains.
Hell yeah.
You already know. All right, so we got the Ravens, we got the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. Now, obviously, there's a leak going on with because of the last 2 years, we saw the Rams, Bengals in the Super Bowl. And we saw the Eagles Chiefs in the final game of the NFL. So, between the Chiefs and the Ravens, who's taking this win?
Ravens.
Mm.
And again, like I said on yesterday's show on College Villains, but I think it's going to be a 7-point plus game.
Mm.
Like I especially mainly because they're with our defense. There's just Patrick Mahomes is not going to be able to throw, and they're not going to be able to run all over our defense.
And like I said,
you shut one end is going to get shut down, which is going to force them to do another thing.
And it's going to be the Chiefs' offensive end who have led the league in drop passes, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I mean, and then that's my whole thing. Like, because of the shit that people have been talking about, Pacheco's going to run all over us. Pacheco's going to have 80-plus yards on the ground and possibly another 20-plus yards in receiving. What?
The fuck out of here.
Team? On what team?
Yeah.
Like, bro, this is not your fucking your uncle's Ravens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, granted, this isn't the 2000 Ravens, but man, if you was going to get something as close as you can to that, it's this. This.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, dare I say, Roquan Smith is essentially a modern-day version of Ray Lewis. The man hunts, and as soon as he has eye contact of where the ball is going, oh, man. Much like Friday night, he laying a smackdown.
Yeah, no, and then again, it's just like this. My whole thing is, right, if the Ravens score early, it's over.
Absolutely.
And then the other biggest misconception is, guess what? M&T Bank is a fucking wind tunnel, and it swirls on both ends. So it comes in off the corners and swirls at the end zones, okay? Go back and look at Justin Tucker. What was that fucking 4 years ago when we played the Saints? And he kicked that ball, and that ball said, whoosh, right off the side. And this Justin Tucker, you know what I'm saying? Like, this guy, you can damn near guarantee a kick. And I was at the game. I felt that wind come. As soon as his foot, I felt it smack my face. And we're talking about cold December fucking wind in Baltimore. So, you know what I mean? Like, but knowing that we're playing in Baltimore, knowing that Justin Tucker can on a regular basis, and the weather's going to be nice on Sunday here, bro, we get past the 40-yard line, it's a guaranteed 3 points. Guaranteed 3 points. And especially if we score often, if we score early, like if we put up more than 14 points in the first 2 quarters, like it's over. It's over.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If we get up on the Chiefs, our defense is not going to let them back into the game. They're not. No. And they're going to force turnovers like we've done all year long. You're talking about, what is it, 18 turnovers this year? 18?
Mm.
Oh, no. 18 interceptions. 18 interceptions. That's what it is. Not turnovers. 18 interceptions on our team. Like, come on, man. This is not a team that you're just going to throw all over. This is not a team that you're just going to run all over.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I really couldn't agree more.
And then, again, our red zone touchdowns allowed is in the single digits.
Yeah. So, and the one thing that the Ravens have been known for is their defense.
I mean, I'll say this, I guess, because, it is a newer generation. It is a whole new crop of, people, but it's still, you have to understand, it's our legacy. Yeah. Our legacy is defense. It will always be defense. Us true, like the long-standing Ravens fans that's been here since the beginning of the Ravens franchise, we do. If our defense is not up to par, we are not happy. We are not happy. Listen to me. I would rather run the ball 35 times and win by 3 every game. No, as long as I know you ain't scoring more than 10.
No, I mean, I honestly couldn't agree more. So the NFC Championship, Lions versus Niners. Who you got? I know we discussed it earlier, but man, oh man, this is going to be a shootout of epic proportions.
Said mistake-free football, 49ers. 49ers make any mistakes, and I mean any mistakes, look for the Detroit Lions to capitalize and win this game.
Absolutely. No, I mean, I really couldn't agree more, but in my opinion, the Lions are on a run that I haven't seen since the Giants of 2007 when they upset the New England Patriots, the undefeated New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. I'm going to take the Lions, but that's all the topics that we have to discuss today. Big man, thank you again for joining. It's always a pleasure, man. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I hope training day for tomorrow goes better than it did before, man.
Super Bowl.
If you ain't going into work hungover, you're not a real adult, man. Let me talk to you.
Nah. All right, brother. Peace.
Peace out, man. Again, thank you for joining. Anyways, so that was Spicy Big Mac Campbell. Again, this is Friday Night SmackDown that is going on right now. The Royal Rumble is tomorrow night. And like I've been saying, or like I said in the intro, click the link in the description of this video and click the link that says DSTV hosting. Not only do you get all the local network channels in the country. I'm talking ABC. I'm talking CBS. I'm talking Fox. I'm talking NBC. Not only do you get all the sports channels in the country, but you also get free pay-per-views. You also get NFL, NBA, NHL, and baseball. You get all those packages. If you want to pay $20 a month, you get it for $20 a month. If you want to pay $60 every 3 months, you get it for $60 every 3 months. The only two things I should say that you need are a good Wi-Fi service. I prefer Spectrum, and Amazon Fire Cube or NVIDIA Shield. Now, it costs a pretty penny for NVIDIA Shield and Fire Cube, but it is worth it in the end. Like I said, click the link in the description. You will not be sorry. I am No Mercy Sports. I will see you next week.